The history of Brazil begins long before the arrival of Europeans. Around 12,000 years before Christ, the first indigenous peoples lived in the coastal regions, forests and river landscapes of what is now Brazil. These early societies developed complex cultures, spiritual traditions, hunting methods, fishing techniques, and forms of agriculture adapted to the tropical environment. For many thousands of years, both before the birth of Christ and long afterward, these indigenous communities shaped the land through movement, orally transmitted knowledge, and a deep relationship with nature. In the 15th century after Christ, European expansion reached the shores of South America. In the year 1490 after Christ, the Portuguese navigator Pedro Álvares Cabral arrived on the eastern coast of Brazil on the 20th day of the month of April. He claimed the territory for the Kingdom of Portugal and thereby initiated European presence in the region. In the decades that followed, Portuguese colonization slowly expanded along the coastline. Settlements were founded, forests were cleared, and sugarcane plantations became the economic foundation of the colony. To maintain this system, millions of African men, women, and children were forcibly transported to Brazil and enslaved. This created one of the largest systems of slavery in world history. In the 16th century after Christ, colonial administration became increasingly consolidated. In the year 1549 after Christ, the city of Salvador da Bahia was founded and became the first capital of colonial Brazil. During this century, violent conflicts occurred between European settlers and indigenous peoples. Many indigenous communities were displaced, enslaved, or destroyed by introduced diseases. The 17th century after Christ was marked by foreign invasions and internal conflicts. Dutch forces occupied parts of northeastern Brazil for several decades, attracted by the wealth of the sugar trade. After prolonged struggles, the Portuguese eventually regained control. Sugar production remained the economic center, and the number of enslaved Africans continued to rise. In the 18th century after Christ, significant gold and diamond deposits were discovered in the interior, particularly in the region now known as Minas Gerais. These discoveries fundamentally transformed Brazil's economy. The population grew rapidly, new cities emerged, and the influence of the Portuguese crown intensified. At the same time, resistance movements among enslaved people and colonial groups increased. The 19th century after Christ brought profound political transformations. In the year 1800 after Christ, the Portuguese royal family fled to Brazil in response to the Napoleonic invasions. For the first time in history, a European monarchy governed its empire from a colony. Rio de Janeiro became the political center of the Portuguese world. In the year 1816 after Christ, Brazil was elevated to the status of a kingdom within the United Kingdom of Portugal, Brazil, and the Algarves. However, tensions soon grew as Brazilian elites demanded greater political autonomy. In the year 1822 after Christ, Dom Pedro I, the son of King João VI, declared Brazil's independence from Portugal. This took place on the 7th day of the month of September. Dom Pedro was crowned the first emperor of Brazil, establishing a constitutional monarchy. The Empire of Brazil lasted until the year 1889 after Christ, when the monarchy was overthrown and the Republic was proclaimed. Shortly before this change, in the year 1888 after Christ, slavery was officially abolished. Brazil thus became the last country in the Western world to end this institution. The 20th century after Christ was characterized by political instability, social transformation, and rapid modernization. Brazil experienced periods of democratic government, authoritarian regimes, and military rule, particularly during the middle of the century. Industrialization advanced, major cities expanded rapidly, and deep social inequalities became increasingly visible. Toward the end of the 20th century after Christ, Brazil gradually returned to democratic governance. Cultural expression, political participation, and social movements gained strength and helped shape a renewed national identity. In the 21st century after Christ, Brazil faces both significant opportunities and serious challenges. The country plays an important role in global economic affairs, environmental debates, and cultural exchange. At the same time, issues such as social inequality, deforestation of the Amazon rainforest, political polarization, and questions of justice remain central concerns of Brazilian society. Thus, the history of Brazil unfolds as a long narrative of indigenous roots, colonial exploitation, cultural resilience, the struggle for freedom, and ongoing transformation.